Good news, guys. We got a guest right off the top of the show today. And what a day to have Mr. Boogie Cousins back on the show, because a lot of news broke yesterday, long after we were off the air. Yeah, they got rid of Tibbs. 5 seasons in New York, a culture change, winning playoffs, 51 wins just this past season, and it doesn't seem to be good enough because Tom Thibodeau fired as head coach. Boogie, we'll start with you. Your reaction to hearing this news?
I was shocked. I was shocked. You know, obviously we can speak on the success that Tibbs has had while he's been with the Knicks. Before he got there, they weren't this team that was, in the place they are now, or even close to the success they've had as of lately. But my opinion, I do think it was a bit of an overreaction. I think they overachieved in the playoffs, which was great for them. I think everybody played a part in that. As far as Tibbs getting fired, I think they could have went to next season with Tibbs, made some adjustments to their roster, improved the team. But also, everybody's been on record of not being a fan of the way Tibbs, being a fan of Tibbs' coaching style. He kind of runs players into the ground. He overplays them. It's a very, very short lineup, regular season and throughout the postseason run. So, all of these things I also feel played a factor into them, coming up short with their playoff run. So I do still feel it was a bit of an overreaction. But, obviously the Knicks are in a win now mode. They plan on improving this team, taking steps forward. So we'll see what comes from this.
Yeah, and I agree. And I said this last week. I think let's look at what they did this season, right? Like they won 51 games for the 5 years that Tibbs was there. They made the playoffs. Yeah, they didn't make it to the finals. Yeah, they didn't win an NBA championship, but one team does that. So when these teams overreact like this, I just think it's so short-sighted. Now, long term, I don't think he's the answer for this team. He's 67 years old. He's not the future coach for this team moving forward. So I get that, but they just beat Boston. They did, and that's with Jason Tatum before he got hurt. So let's not say it's because Tatum got hurt. The Knicks beat the Boston Celtics, who everybody thought was going to be the NBA champions this year and go back to back. They overcame adversity throughout the season with Jalen Brunson going down. They won a lot of games. So, again, I think he's a solid coach. I don't think he's the answer and the solution for the future. But, man, I just hate the way the head coaches get hired and fired, and they just the leadership, they panic and just make a move so quickly when I don't think it's a fair situation for Tibbs. I really don't. And again, he's not really a new age style coach. He's a run player to the ground. He's a short rotation guy. He's the comments from Bridges and the players about being exhausted and playing too many minutes. You never really see that, right? As a player, as a kid, you want to play the most minutes possible. And now it's a problem when this guy plays you too many minutes, because nowadays with load management and all the medical science that we have behind us. But I think you got to roll into the deal. But listen, 67 years old, go get you $30 million. He probably won't get another head coaching job again, but that's fine. He is financially set, and I do think he got the roll into this deal, though. But whoever gets this job, it's a great job, because the Knicks are in a position to win right now.
And I told you, Chandler, I wasn't campaigning for Tibbs to get fired, but I said it was something that you're going to take a look at. You gotta look at it. This year is considered probably a letdown, even though they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. We were thinking that this team was gonna advance. We were thinking that they were gonna be one of those teams. We had them in that championship conversation to give Boston a run for their money. And even though they did what they were supposed to do and get to the Eastern Conference Finals, a lot of people can consider them losing to a team that they thought or probably considered that they should have beat, even though it was a 3-4 matchup, as far as that go. And Tibbs, he's had a history of, some guys having some injuries due to the fact of playing too many minutes, hamstring pulls and things of that nature. So you got to take a look at it. And you had the controversy where, guys were complaining about minutes played and saying that they were tired and not being able to get over the hump and where they were in the season at that point. And so I thought they accomplished a lot of things. I thought they had a great run. I thought Tibbs did an amazing job, winning 60% of his games while he was there. But again, when you don't get over that hump, when you don't win the big game, when you don't get to the destination that you set out to get to, everything has to be looked at. We do it with the players all the time. If guys not making it happen, look what Knicks did to Julius Randle and Cat. They swapped these guys out if they feel like you're not getting the job done. Nothing is different for the coaches, right? This is the culture that we've created in the NBA now. It's fast turnover if you're not getting the job done. And so with that, you can say that this season was somewhat of a letdown. You can even say last season was somewhat of a letdown, and guys not getting to where they want to go based on the team that they have and based on the roster that was built. And you always got to look at leadership first. So Tibbs was the odd man out when it came to that.
And
I mean, look, it's only been decades since they were relevant and great. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure this will go swimmingly, guys. Very smooth transition.
And I feel like the season itself was a success, right? Everything they did, the wins, getting to the conference finals was a success.
Yes.
Losing to the Indiana Pacers in the conference finals, that is the disappointment. That is not getting over the hump. I feel like if they did what they did and they lose to a healthy Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, I don't think he gets fired. I think everyone expects Celtics to be a top dog. So it's the fact that they go to the Eastern Conference Finals and they lose to a team that they feel they're better than, and they feel like they maybe got outcoached by Karl. I think that was the issue, not them, not their season. You know what I mean? I think that was not getting over that hump, getting the finals against a team that they feel like they were probably better than. They should be playing Oklahoma City right now.
So the goalpost move is what you're saying. We move the goalpost. Don't lose to the Celtics, you're fine. Lose to anyone else, we fire you. What a cesspool. What a cesspool of an industry. Truly. It is the worst. We'll get to the Coach of the Year kiss of death situation as well. But obviously yesterday, as soon as this news breaks, then the lists start coming out. Who do you hire? Who's the guy, since it's not Tibbs? Boogie, I'll start with you. Do you have a top of your head who you think it should be?
I think the obvious choice is Jay Wright. You know, they most of their starters are from that Villanova championship team. I feel like they built the team based off their chemistry and, you know, their past success. So it only makes sense for them to bring in the head coach that led them to that championship. Do I think it's the, right answer? I'm not really quite sure. I do think Jay Wright is a hell of a coach. I do think he'll help them find some success, but, the ultimate answer is them competing for a championship. So with this roster and, possibly adding a guy like Jay Wright, I think it's great for storylines. I think it's, great from camaraderie, but, I don't know if it leads them to a championship. Not right now. Obviously, they have to improve the roster and things of that nature, but, the glaring choice to me is Jay Wright.
Man,
you want a storyline, Boogie?
Oh, go ahead.
What you got for me?
You know who they should look at? Rick
Who is that?
Brunson. There you go.
Lou, have you slept yet? Have you slept yet?
They should look at Rick Brunson. I know, hey, listen, I know RB is in that office like, y'all need a guy. I mean, hey, I'm local. I know the guys. I know the star player pretty. I know the star player pretty decently. Me and him got a pretty cool rapport. I may be able to help here, but no.
Jalen got an MVP season on the way, man.
No, but all jokes aside, look, again, you might have to take a look at it. But Jay Wright sounds like an obvious pick to have his name in the hat here. Even Mike Malone is out there. He's doing TV, but I'm sure he's itching to get back into coaching. But I think they take a look at somebody young. Take a look at somebody that understands where the game is going, how this thing is evolving, the roster that you have, and how to put those guys in the best positions possible. I'm hearing that they're going to take 2 or 3 weeks to take their time and create a coaching pool and make a decision from there. So, I'm sure a lot of names and a lot of different coaches and a lot of different established coaches' resumes will come up in the next couple of weeks. So let's see what they do.
And listen, this is a hell of a job. It's a huge market. I think going to get a Jay Wright or the UConn coach Hurley, like I feel like that's such a tough thing
no, you can't do this.
To be the head coach of the
he
Knicks.
Will explode. His head will explode.
Yeah, NBA is
that's what I mean. To pull someone up from college, I don't even care if it's the Villanova, if it's Jay Wright. Like that to me is such a risky move when you're the New York Knicks. That is a pressure-packed job. But then on the flip side, like, what are you going to go get a Jenkins or a Malone who just got fired for the same exact reason? Like in Memphis and Denver, not getting over that hump, not maximizing.
But Mike Malone is a championship coach, so that's.
But is he that different? Is Mike Malone that different than Tibbs?
Yeah, that goes back
he's
to
a
the whole
championship coach. That makes him different.
That goes back to the whole cesspool thing Michelle just said. Like it's just funneling here and there. Like I'd rather them go get a Sam Cassell.
I'd prefer a brand new guy.
A new guy.
Yeah, like
I put $1 on Johnny Bryant. That was my
get a
dollar
young
yesterday.
stud like Johnny Bryant. Go get a Chris Quinn.
Let's go get Rajon Rondo. Rajon Rondo.
Hey,
Boogie, you said this
listen.
before, and I don't hate it at all.
I don't hate it either.
Rondo.
I'm just
My guy
over
Rondo.
the coaches getting fired and hired at another place. Let's fire Doc. Let's hire him here. It's like, I think they need to go a younger, fresh face, be there for the future, build with it. Like we just talked about the consistency and the less turnover. Like you can't do that obviously with a 67-year-old coach. You know, he's not the coach of the future. That's fine. But now bring in a Mark Daigneault, a young guy that you can grow with and be there for the future and kind of develop these guys in the relationship. So I love like a Sam Cassell. I love a Chris Quinn. I love a Jared Dudley. I love like someone young like that's been in the game for a while that can step right in.
Wait, Boogie, do you think Rajon Rondo would want to do this job? I know the coaching thing and obviously the brain, but would he want this job?
Absolutely. I think he would be the perfect guy for the job. I mean, if we praise, JJ, and this is no knock, I think JJ is a really good coach, but if we praise JJ, for his level of IQ and his understanding of the game, I mean, Rondo is light years ahead of him. So when it comes to any coaching job, I think his name should be in the hat. He's a winner. He knows the game. He's also a great teacher of the game. He was that when he was a player, so you can only imagine what he would be when he's a full-time coach. So I absolutely think he's the guy for the job. Any opening, I think his name should be.
Going into it, he's got more coaching experience than JJ Redick. JJ only coached his daughter or his son's rec league team. At least Rondo is coaching AAU basketball. And we already we already know he's a savant. We know that he knows the game. He's an X and O guy. His IQ is on another level. Who better than Rondo to have an opportunity to at least interview for this job? So we're not even sure if his name will be in this hat or if he even wants to do this gig. But as far as we're concerned, we're rooting for you, Doe. Go get that one.
Absolutely.
What does that do? Like, I mean, I like this. I like this hypothetical. I say we explore it. What does it do for Jalen Brunson? If you get a guy like Rajon Rondo that's heading the ship, how much does that help the growth of Jalen Brunson?
It'll definitely help him grow. Obviously, having a guy like that lead you with the experiences he's had, he's seen it from all aspects. He's been the guy. He's played with different Hall of Famers. I don't think it's an experience. He has an experience being in the NBA. He even won in the later years of his career. So I think he's the perfect teacher for Brunson. I think he can help elevate his game. I think he'll help him gain a better understanding of making the guys around him better on top of being the superstar that he is. So, I think he's the perfect teacher. And he's young. He relates. He understands the players. Like those things, those type of things matter. When you have a good understanding with your players because you've been on that side of things, I think it only helps.
I know Chris Paul said he's going to play another year, Chandler, but what if Chris Paul's like, can I at least just get an interview? Is there a world? I mean, we've seen things happen crazier.
I think the NBA this year has showed us that nothing would surprise us this year. Once Luka got traded, I swear all cards are off the deck. And again, I'm thinking no way the Los Angeles Lakers are going to hire a dude with no coaching experience, and they go and hire JJ Redick, who had a pretty good year. Then there's ex-players that are brilliant minds like Steve Nash, who didn't really make it as a head coach, and he's one of the smartest guys to ever touch a basketball. So it kind of goes both ways when you look at an ex-player and their IQ and the way they can play the game so beautifully like Rajon Rondo did. Is he a good name? Is it Chris Paul? I think one day he's going to be a head coach, but I think, listen, he's all over the team's radar. You're here. Dallas wants him. Houston wants him. Like he's still going to play. So I don't think someone like that, but yeah, I think one of those, past first floor general guards, Jalen Brunson could really benefit from learning how to play off the ball, with the ball, setting up your guys. So I don't think you necessarily have to bring him as a head coach. You can bring in someone like that as an assistant or development guy, and they can kind of work their way up like these other coaches, like the Sam Cassells, the Jared Dudleys that I've mentioned, that have been assistant coaches for multiple years. But again, the Lakers just proved it doesn't have to be someone in the league already. They can make a splash. I don't think they will. I think this team right now is built to win right now, and they want someone to come in and kind of handle that situation. But who knows, man? I think, like I said, the NBA is. I didn't think this was going to happen. I just went on a whole rant earlier this week saying there's no way they're firing Tibbs. So what do I know?
I literally gasped.
I tried to tell you, Chandler. You were ready to die on that hill. I tried to tell you. They at least got to look at it.
But you know why, Lou? Because I think Chandler was thinking to himself, like I was, like, okay, yeah, it's possible, but surely not. Surely, 51 wins. It's a garbage. It's a garbage business. I don't know why anybody wants to be a coach, but here we are. We'll stay in New York though, because it was inevitable, right? As sure as the sun was going to come up, Boogie, we got to start putting some blame. And there's a group, pretty vocal group of Knicks fans out there that immediately upon being dismissed from the playoffs have started to put point blame at Cat. And then we're hearing little leaks of, players weren't happy with Cat, defense, this, all of these little things, the hate is coming out. Are you surprised by that? Where do you think that's coming from? Is it there's merit?
I think after the series was over, it was a lot of things you could dissect from the series and say, they could have did this, and this better. I think it was shared blame. That's, if let's say if they hypothetically won, not one person is getting all the credit for winning. So it shouldn't be the same thing when it comes to losing. I do think Cat played a role in, some of their shortcomings. Obviously, defense is the biggest thing. But as a whole, I think this team was missing a go-to scorer. I mean, obviously you have, Jalen Brunson, but outside of that, you don't have really a prolific scorer. So, or a guy that can, here's the ball, go get us a bucket, get us a win. I do think Jalen Brunson can be a compliment piece to a guy like that. I think he's a great number 2. But I think it's hard. I think it's hard for them to expect, a title run with not only a short, but also unathletic guard that's your go-to guy. Eventually, I think, his flaws will show at some point throughout the series, which they did. So I do think they need to add another prolific scorer, a guy like maybe a Kevin Durant or a Giannis or something of that nature. And I think that type of move gets this team over the hump. But, I also think, a coaching change could do the same thing for them. It's so many different, pieces with this team that could, easily improve in the season. So it's hard to just put it on one specific thing. So I do think they can still find success with Cat. Obviously, you have to find the right piece to complement him as well. So I don't think it's just any one person's fault. I think it's obviously a combination of things. And, also I feel like this when it comes to the Knicks fans. Like, I'm happy for you guys' success, but it's crazy. Like, you find this success and now quickly you're now, finding blame. And it was also even the scenes of hitting fans with trash bags and shit. Excuse my language, but I think they got a little
Boogie, they attacked Brian Windhorst.
It's definitely
Who attacks Brian Windhorst in this?
You turn into assholes in the moment of success. So
garbage.
Let's calm down. Let's take a deep breath and let's really analyze the season that you guys had and actually appreciate, what these guys went out and did for you guys this season. Yeah. They represented the city well. They should be getting credit for how they represented the city. They brought you to a place that you haven't been to in a very long time. So let's show these guys some appreciation and let's take a deep breath at the same time.
I think, Boogie, I think what we're seeing, though, with the media talking about Cat, with Tibbs being fired and all of these things, this is all justifying them to go full throttle at Giannis. This is what this is lining up to me. So let's see how that play out. I want to switch gears with you, man.